on this computer.
Welcome back to Two Wacky Teacherpreneurs Tell All. I'm here with my buddy Amanda. We're sitting in front of zany, weird backgrounds. Mine has nothing to do with the topic. Hers has everything to do with the topic. You can check us out on YouTube. But today's topic is going to be pivoting. So, pivoting in your business. When do you know, or when have you completely changed your offer, your niche, or the direction of your business? Amanda's done it quite a few times, and I think I'm more of like I go to a buffet, I just keep adding things to my plate. Amanda's a little bit better at completely pivoting her focus and direction, but I just sort of just add things and then things fall off my plate, and I'm like, oh, whatever, it fell on the floor. Whoops, somebody'll sweep it up. So here we go. Amanda, welcome back to my podcast. Just kidding. It's our podcast. So, what do you have to say about pivoting, changing your offer, niche, or direction of your business? You've done it a few times. Here's some times I remember you doing it is I know you had a membership website and then you shut it down. And then I know, oh my gosh, you had Teachbox and then you stopped doing Teachbox. And then you were doing like webinars, but I guess I don't know if the webinars had to do with your membership or if you were just selling a big offer. And now, I mean, you've left teaching a couple times and now you're even leaving the country. So you're kind of like a master pivoter. Do you have anything like, is there one that like, you think would help people like if they heard about right now, like they would be like, "Oh my gosh, cool." Because I think we kind of fantasize as teacher entrepreneurs about like, "Oh, I'd rather just do this," or like me and you have the shiny object syndrome, right? Where we're like, "Oh, this sounds like fun," and then we do it for 6 months. We're like, "Oh, that sounds like fun," and this isn't fun anymore. So, like, what do you want to talk about the mostest?
Well, I love that you basically summarized all these different pivots that I've done, but you forgot the very first pivot I ever did, which was uh just why do you keep it looks like you're moving on a conveyor belt. Why is Zoom doing this now? It's like this
Uh,
new feature where you look
you
like you're
guys
on a
have
conveyor belt.
got to check out YouTube because I'm just bouncing all over the screen. It's a lot of fun. Anyway,
So, when I first started my entrepreneurial ship journey, did I say that right? I feel like that's not a word. I put an L in there. Okay, whatever. We're not about perfection here. We're about wacky weirdness. So I started on TPT. I think most people know that. Like that's where I got like that's where I started to sell things online. Um, and I feel like that, like at the beginning, I was jumping on a lot of bandwagons. And one of those bandwagons, I feel like it was valid. It was a valid bandwagon, which was you need a website. Um, and so that's when I first started a website and a blog, and I did all these blogging kind of weird collaboration. Do you remember that? Like there were I forget what they were called, where like every Friday everyone would post like it was like five for Friday or I don't know. There was some interesting thing that people were doing like 10 years ago on their blogs, like educational blogs. And you would like post like five things about your week or something.
yeah,
But anyways,
there's a
yeah.
lady, Farley created this idea. It was called the Friday Five, and
Yeah.
it was just a way for teacher bloggers to start posting things. But there are all sorts of challenges like that.
Yeah, and you would be in this big list and people could visit each other's. It was fun. But starting a website, I mean, back when was this? It was so long ago. It was hard. And everyone was on Blogger. And then, so I was on Blogger at first, and my website was called, and my store was called School Days Simplified. And it was really long. And it was like, well, is it one day? Is it plural? Like school days or school day? And it just was a mouthful. And I had that blog for a couple of years until I met you. And you were like, you need to change your name and you need to change your domain name. And I think you should be Amanda right now because you're all about writing. That's your niche. And I was like, okay, okay. So I think, like at first, I was really influenced by influencers. I was influenced by other more successful GPT sellers. And so I would pivot based on what other people were telling me to do. Right. And like, that's why I started a podcast because Pat Flynn told me that podcasting and Amy Porterfield, that's where it was at, like every time that I've pivoted, it's been because someone else told me to. Um, so it's kind of embarrassing to admit. Um, and I feel like there's like I think the one thing that I want to say is yeah, I don't like being in limbo. I like making decisions. Like I like just making decisions, just going for it, And sometimes that can get me in trouble. Um, and I don't know if you can relate. I think you can. Because I also know a lot of TPT sellers that have stuck to one thing the whole time. They haven't pivoted. They're just like, all of my eggs are in TPT and that's it. And Instagram or whatever, their social media of like that they like the best. And I just think a lot of people have found a lot of success by not pivoting. But I think there's also like in this day and age, with everything changing so fast because of AI and our political climate, I think a lot of people are realizing that having that skill of pivoting and just going for something different is actually an asset right now. What do you think? These are just some of
Well,
my.
I did have $1 million question for you. So, what do you think, looking back on everything you've pivoted to, is there one pivot that you felt like was the most successful, or like basically that you wish you would have just stuck with it? Like looking into the future now, like, oh, if I still had that, that would have been really cool. Like, is there anything that you got rid of, or was there a pivot that you were like, wow, I actually had success with that, maybe until you didn't, but like, is there one that pops out in your mind?
Well, I think that when I did web design, it became very clear once I started working with individual teacherpreneurs because I was building websites for them that this was not for me, that I could not be happy doing this because well, autism. Like I have very strong opinions about what a good, like a nice website looks like. And just disagreeing with a client and just working with one person who's paying me a lot of money to build them a website. Like, I think it's really important to quit things when you realize, and I think some people have a hard time quitting things because they feel like they've put so much time and energy into the thing. But I'm really happy that I quit doing that because I just don't think that I would have been happy. And I knew very early, I think I worked with three people. And by the end of that, I was like, I'm not doing this anymore. And
Well, is
it's
there
like I
anything
knew what I knew in my
Is there
soul.
anything you kind of answered opposite wise? Like, is
No,
there anything you actually regret? Like, that's something you don't regret leaving, but is there anything that you're like,
yes,
I wish I would have maybe stuck with that a little bit
of
more?
course. You know the answer, TPT. I wish instead of jumping around everywhere, I wish that I had just dedicated more of my energy to just making products on TPT. And that was one of the things that I was like, I've been there, done that. Like it's not that fun. I don't really feel like it. But I'm like the kind of person that once I set my mind to something, I could make like 100 products this year if if that was all I was working on. But that's the thing about being AuDHD. It's hard to maintain that energy, the initial energy, and it's hard to not quit. Like I'm really good at quitting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, for me, I guess I have the same answer like TPT. I kind of wish I wouldn't have quit on my blog so easy, but I've had a strenuous blog journey. Like, I got it to a point where, I liked it. I had it redesigned a billion times. You were one of the designers, but I had it to this point where I paid a lot of money years after you had worked on my blog to kind of redo it. And I really liked it, and it got hacked. Somebody hacked my blog and they completely stole it. And it was like this whole like year-long process to get it back. And even to this day, the whimsicalteacher.com is being held for ransom, the URL. And it's just, yeah, it's like $3,000 or $4,000. Sometimes it goes up to 8 to 12,000. I mean, one time it was $25,000 to get the whimsicalteacher.com. Someone must think that I'm really worth a lot of money. So I kind of wish, because it's all about having your little place in the world. And TPT is a great little place in the world, but I think also having a place that you build yourself that no one can take away from you, even though, I just told you my blog got hacked. But I mean, I don't know. So yeah, I would agree. Like, if I could go back and change anything, I would have just started creating tons and tons of products, tried to cash in on that whole 2020, 2021 COVID digital product rage. I could have turned all my products into digital products, and I didn't because I was a full-time teacher and dealing with COVID like everyone else. But the people that I know that did that, oh my gosh, they made enough to pay off their houses. And I just wish I would have made better choices back then. And now those people are kind of crashing. I'm not going to lie. They're crashing and burning. They're making like fractions of what they used to. But just to have had that chance at like a big pie in the sky to change my life, like I feel like I've missed a lot of chances. But I mean, you can't go back. You can only go forward. And I think this is a good chat because I was actually thinking, I I won all these stupid auctions this week, and this one thing that Claude has been telling me to make, Claude's like, dude, why aren't you making bookmarks and selling them on TPT? Like, you got a lot of cool ideas. I actually have an idea for a bookmark that's never really been made before. And I know you're like, what could that possibly be? Well, I'm not going to tell anyone right now. I'm not going to tell you till I have it out there. But I got this bookmark stand from an auction. It's normally about $30. I got it for $4. And I'm like, I should be making bookmarks, like Claude said, for my TPT store, at least trying something right now. That's me pivoting away from other things I've been doing lately.
But okay, you have so many ideas, Jess. And I think that's one of the curses of being wacky and neurodivergent is all the really wonderful ideas. And now you have Claude who's got even more
Well,
ideas
no,
for
listen,
you.
listen. Claude is like, you put the bookmarks are going to be in your membership. Like,
Oh, okay.
but you could also sell the bookmarks on TPT, kind of
Yeah.
like you could have them in both places, but you could have like a bookmark of the month club, or like just put it as a part of your thing where when people sign up to your membership, they're always getting the bookmarks. And I could also sell the bookmarks on TPT, like have two, like they would be the same product, but across two different platforms, which I think is fine.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. And even like, and I know you've talked about Squarespace and having a membership on there, but even Squarespace, I feel like is facing some pivot moment. I feel like there's so many like big giant companies that have made so many billions of dollars, millions. I don't know about Squarespace if they're billions or not, but that they're in trouble too, and they have to kind of figure out how to pivot. And I actually just I love Hard Fork. It's the New York Times technology podcast, and they just talked about this story about Grammarly. Have you heard about this?
No.
So Grammarly is trying to pivot because, AI is really good at just like giving you grammar and like help with improving your writing. And so they put all of these experts without getting their permission, including one of the hosts of Hard Fork, into their platform, selling their premium, it's like 100 something dollars to for a year for Grammarly. And they have all these famous writers that are supposedly experts and will coach you in your writing, but they didn't get any of these people's permission, and it's just AI. It's just all of these
Wow.
expert writers, right? Like Stephen King. They never got their permission. And so the hard fork host, one of them, he contacted Grammarly and he's like, hey, like I didn't give you permission for this. And Grammarly actually took it down. They're like changing. So you see these huge companies trying to adapt, trying to pivot, trying to figure out like, oh my gosh, everything's changing. What do I do? And I have a WordPress website, and WordPress has been such a nightmare. It's been such a nightmare for me. And now you can just build a website using Claude code and using GitHub. And it's like really easy, and you can put all these cool things in it, and like you don't even need Squarespace and WordPress anymore. So like I'm like, okay, wait a minute. Like, and I've been thinking about changing my domain name for a long time, like pointing Amanda right now to empower students now. Like, I don't know. And I do think that these kinds of decisions, like I'll end with this, that sometimes it's better to kind of sit in the pivot, like in the transition period for a while, and not just make snap decisions, like I do think it's important to spend a few months if you're going to make a big pivot, thinking about it, talking to your AI pal about it, and like weighing all the pros and cons and just doing it in a thoughtful way, which is not what I used to do.
I love this. I love this episode. I think this is going to help a lot of people. I think it's really relevant because right now everyone's trying to make a pivot, trying to
Yeah.
figure out where AI fits in their business and what they should do next. And so I think this was a really cool episode. I think this is a good spot to say namaste.
Namaste. Except I didn't explain my background. Oh well.
You want to explain it right now?
Yes, this is a Montevideo, a governmental building in Montevideo, Uruguay, where I'm moving. Okay, namaste.